Are you often wondering about the correct preposition in a place expression? Are you uncertain whether you should say at university or in university or to the shop or into the shop? Then join me in this lesson for a review of prepositions in place expressions. Hello and welcome everyone. This is Minu at AngloLink. Today we're going to review prepositions in place expressions. I'm sure you know by now that the key to learning the correct preposition is oral repetition. So in this lesson, I'm going to give you a few quick tips and then take you straight into an active exercise to jog your memory about prepositions of place. You must repeat the exercise several times until you get the preposition right each time. By the end of your practice, you will have built the necessary reflexes to use these prepositions correctly every time. So when you're ready, we can begin. Prepositions in place expressions. Let's start with a few tips. Let's look at prepositions at and in. Use at with a precise and small location. For example, at the entrance, at this address, at the hairdresser's, at home. Also use at with an event. For example, at a party or at a wedding, at a meeting. Use in with an enclosed space. For example, in a room, in a box, in a car. Also use in with large locations. For example, in a garden, or in a street, or in a town. Also use in with abstract locations. For example, in a photograph, in a book, in an article. Sometimes you see the same place name with both at and in. There are exceptions, but generally, when you refer to a place because of what happens at that place, you should use at. For example, today John is at work. John is at the office. John is at school. John is at home. John is at the cinema. But when you refer to a place as a pure location, you should use in. For example, there was a fire in the office. There was a fire in the school. There was a fire in the house. There was a fire in the cinema. There are two main exceptions to this. These are in hospital, as a patient, and in prison or in jail, as an inmate. And at the hospital or at the prison is as a visitor. Right then, let's have a look at the preposition on. We use on with surfaces, for example, on the table, or on page 2, or on the 6th floor. We also use on with public transport. For example, on the bus, on the train, on the plane. We also use on with the following expressions. On a list, on a map, on a farm, on an island, on holiday, on TV, on the radio, on the internet, on a website. Okay, moving on to the preposition to. Use to with verbs of movement and a final destination. For example, drive to work or go to Oxford. There are a few things to note here. For example, do not use to with the word home. Let's go home, not let's go to home. Also, use to with the expressions an invitation to and a visit to. Now let's look at the preposition into. Use into with a verb of movement and a space. For example, go into the garden or run into the house. However, in spoken English, in is sometimes used instead of into. You may hear, go in the garden. One thing to note is that you must not use into with the verb enter for a physical place. For example, he entered the room, not he entered into the room. But use it for abstract places. For example, he entered the data into the computer, or they entered into a contract. Now, although these tips can be very useful, the real key to assimilation is oral repetition. So let's move on to the most important part of the lesson, which is the exercises. This is what you're going to do. You're going to hear a sentence with a gap. You're going to complete it with a preposition, if necessary, and give your answer out loud. And then you're going to hear the correct answer and repeat the correct answer. For example, you're going to see and hear, I read that, the newspaper. You will say, I read that in the newspaper. And then you will see and hear the correct answer, I read that in the newspaper. Make sure you repeat the correct answer. So please do all the exercises once, and then come back and do them again several times until you can find every correct preposition without hesitation. Right then, let's start the exercises. Complete the following sentences using one of these prepositions: at, on, to, in, into, or no preposition. Right, number 1. He was waiting the bus stop. He was waiting at the bus stop. Number 2. He enjoyed his visit Peru. He enjoyed his visit to Peru. Number 3. She walked the living room and sat down. She walked into the living room and sat down. Number 4. They moved Italy last year. They moved to Italy last year. Number 5. Can you see him, the picture? Can you see him in the picture? Number 6. They live a quiet area. They live in a quiet area. Number 7. I've put a poster, the notice board. I've put a poster on the notice board. Number 8. We've lived this address for a long time. We've lived at this address for a long time. Number 9. There has been a fire, the school. There has been a fire in the school. Number 10. Sally teaches the local school. Sally teaches at the local school. Number 11. They met a wedding. They met at a wedding. Number 12. She's hospital waiting for an operation. She's in hospital waiting for an operation. Number 13. I saw him the bus. I saw him on the bus. Number 14. He entered my office without knocking. He entered my office without knocking. Number 15. We're going home soon. We're going home soon. Number 16. The suspect is currently prison. The suspect is currently in prison. Number 17. I drove my friend the train station. I drove my friend to the train station. Number 18. You can read the details our website. You can read the details on our website. Number 19. She grew up a farm. She grew up on a farm. Number 20. Your name is not the list. Your name is not on the list. Right, that's the end of the exercises. As I mentioned earlier, you should now go back and do them all over again until you get every preposition right each time without hesitation. That's all for now. As you know, you can now go to our website, anglolink.com, for more lessons and exercises. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye now.